Okay, so a lot of people don't know about the term low end torque, and in today's video, we are going to talk about that particular topic completely. What is it, and how this bike particularly has a problem with the term low end torque. So, yeah, stay tuned in the video, and I'll tell you guys completely is it worth it or not. This is not a science lecture, but to understand low end torque, we need to understand what torque is. And I'll try to make it very much understandable for you guys. It's not very hard to understand. So, torque is basically a force that is applied. For example, if you want to go this particular way, and your vehicle is basically using torque to go in front. All right. So, it's like a rotational motion that your engine produces to go in front. Okay, and now low end torque is very much similar, but low end torque works on low speeds. It tells about engine की capacity कितनी है to like actually pull from this point to this point, from point A to point B. That would be the low end torque, the capacity of the engine to actually pull from point A to point B on a higher gear. That shows everything about low end torque. And let's talk about why Duke 390 does not really have a good low end torque. So let's take an example. If you're going at a speed of 15 kilometers per hour and you are on the third gear, the low end torque is supposed to carry your speed on the third gear from 15 to higher. All right, and that is how every single bike works, because the low end torque is eventually better than this bike. But this bike, on the other hand, it can eventually stall, or it cannot really pull that faster, even though this bike is known for one of the most quickest accelerations in the market. But on a higher gear and at a lower speed, it sucks. Trust me, it's not good. It's more like you are trying to burst apart and you are trying to overtake someone, and this bike won't let you do that. If you're on a higher gear, you have to drop the gear and then go past them. And you might say that why can't you just lower your gear? And see, these things not really happen in everyday traffic. When you're riding in traffic, and it's not a traffic where the car is just in front of you, but in a traffic where there's distance, then there's closeness. There's distance, then there's closeness. So that is one of the most, what I'll say, weird things. And that's very much irritating that happens during the traffic hours, because you have to continuously engage the clutch, because you can't really rely on the bike to give you a certain boost in speed, because it will eventually stall. Now, low end torque, as I told you guys, is basically a capacity of the engine to pull from a lower speed to the higher speeds. Okay, and how faster the engine does that shows the amount of low end torque the bike particularly has. And even though this particular bike, Duke 390, has immense amount of power, it lags behind in low end torque. Well, there's a lot of usage of words low and torque, but that is the entire concept of the video. Now you might say that why can't you just lower down a gear and just go in front? And my solid answer to that particular thing is you can do that only when you are on a particular ride. But if you're commuting with this bike every single day, like for me, I came back from college like 2 hours ago, and trust me, in traffic, in India's traffic, in daily riding, that low end torque is a very big issue. It doesn't really seems a lot, but the amount of vibrations the bike makes when you are at a lower speed on a higher gear, it is very much unbearable. Trust me, it's not really worth it. But yeah, the bike itself is very much better than other bikes, except for this particular thing. So if you are thinking to buy a Duke 390, make sure that this is a problem and it is not comfortable. Even though dropping a gear might be an option, but it is not really applicable in every single day things. And that's mostly it. Okay, so well, I do have to educate you guys more on this thing. It's not only about the thing that dropping a single gear would be very much useful. It is useful, but as I told you guys, not in every single day, like commute or in traffic. It's not really useful because the bikes that have better low end torque, they are much comfortable because you don't have to really engage the clutch here and there, and like it's not really a often use of the clutch with other bikes. So I'll tell you guys one more thing, that when it's about low end torque, your bike is supposed to reach a particular distance on a low end torque. Now, this is only if your low end torque is good. On the third gear or the fourth gear, you can eventually cover this particular distance much faster on other bikes. Even though they have a slow acceleration, they have a better low end torque. And on the Duke, what happens is you can cover the particular distance, but it only happens if you are engaging the clutch slowly and you're also giving the accelerator slowly. You can't really just burst into the accelerator and you think that you will reach the particular point very much faster, because that is not going to happen. But on the other hand, on other bikes, you can easily. Well, my dog just came into the. Look at this guy. Look, look at this guy ruining my video. You goddamn it. Well, that was very uncertain. So yeah, I think that's the entire thing that I told you about the distance traveling and the speed. Other bikes eventually will cover the distance much faster because they will accelerate much faster than the Duke because of good amount of torque, but because Duke does not have that amount of torque, it eventually stalls. So you have to lower the gear and then you can eventually go faster. But when you are in traffic and you're commuting every single day, it is more like a error and it's very much irritating. It feels like you don't want to ride the bike in traffic. Just take it out every single day to go on a perfect ride. But you can't really commute with the bike. And yeah, that's not really comfortable. That's the entire point. It's not really comfortable. KTM, fix this. And okay, a lot of people also say this that they can eventually use the clutch on the sixth gear and say that the bike has a good low end torque. No, that is not what it actually means. If you are on a sixth gear and you're pulling the bike with the clutch engaged, it won't really make sense. You are slowly releasing the clutch like this, you are slowly releasing it, and the bike will eventually go to this particular point where the bike has reached the speed of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour with the throttle, where the sixth gear is actually applicable. For example, on the sixth gear with a speed of 35, you can't really rely on the accelerator because even if you try to accelerate, the bike will eventually has so much vibrations that you will eventually have a fear in yourself that you are going to break something. And yeah, I don't really have a GoPro, or I might have showed you guys, but I'll buy the GoPro soon and make sure about the beautiful vlogs that are supposed to be coming soon. And yeah, that's for the video, and I'll educate you more on these kind of things. If you have any other query, you can comment down easily because that's very much. I don't know what the fuck I say sometimes, but whatever. Yeah, subscribe for more content and like the video as well. Bye bye.